Thank you very much. You know, about in September 11, 2001, terrorists killed around 3,000 Americans. And we went 7,000 miles and we waged war for 20 years because 3,000 Americans were killed. 70,000 Americans are being killed every single year by fentanyl, and we're doing nothing about it. I had the director of the FBI sitting in that chair, and I asked him, do you think that we should be labeling the Mexican cartels, the multinational cartels, as terrorists? And he says, well, it's just a technicality. Well, they're terrorists. They're killing us. But as a matter of fact, we only lost 60,000, close to 60,000 people in Vietnam in 10 years of war. They're killing 70,000 Americans every single year, and they're right across the border. So my question to you, Mr. Jones, is this. Do you believe that the Biden administration policies have strengthened the Mexican cartels?
Yes, sir. I know they have.
Do you believe that by strengthening the Mexican cartels, we are actually not only destabilizing the United States of America, but we're also helping to destabilize Mexico?
Yes.
And there's the crux of the matter. And so we can fund $10 billion and put CBP agents locked in arm 2,000 miles on the border, and unless we change the policy, nothing changes. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. This is an authority issue. This is not a money issue any longer. We as lawmen do not have the authorities we have needed to go after these cartels. That is the problem. And I don't believe in going to war with the cartels. They are dark networks, Congressman, and the way we win against them is giving us the authority for full spectrum operations, leveraging our full U.S. intelligence agencies, law enforcement and military, but mostly clandestine operations. How you go after the Sinaloa cartel as a network will be much different as to how we go after the Gulf cartel down that Este and many others, because these networks are different, and we have to fight in the future differently than we have in the past.
I agree, but also we need to change our policy so that the migrants who are coming through, who think they can get into the United States, that are paying them their passage, deprives them of that revenue and makes them weaker. Is that correct?
It does, but you also need to understand these cartels are global. You hear all the time that right now they're making billions of dollars off of the human trafficking of people. That's absolutely true, and they're making more than they are off of drugs. But when you look at them in the totality today, look at why Cartel Jalisco New Generation has risen so quickly, so fast, because they began moving their narcotics overseas to Europe, Russia, and Australia, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Literally, 1 kilo at one time in Australia was $180,000. This is why their rise is so massive. But what are you always told by these so-called experts? That these cartels, listen, if you just legalize it, it'll all go away. Look at what has happened to us.
You're right. And this is not a simple answer to the problems that we face in the United States, but we need to view them as adversaries. We need to view them as people that are killing Americans, 70,000 a year. Look, I was in the streets of Miami. I'm a paramedic. That's my craft, all right? And so in the 70s and in the 80s, I responded to overdoses left and right all the time, and overdoses with opioids. But they weren't laced with this poison. This poison hooks them, makes it much more addictive, and then it kills us. And we have to do something about it. And what the Biden administration is doing is not doing very much to protect American lives. And that's the duty of government. The duty of government is to protect the lives of American citizens. And in this respect, the Biden administration and this secretary is failing miserably. Much has been said about the decrease in the number of migrants that are coming through the border now from the height. And yeah, maybe it was, but the number that I got, the last, in February 2020, only 36,000 migrants were encountered at the border. Now we're looking at as 100,000 as being a good number, 150,000 being a good number. It's an utter disaster what's happening at the border. It's an utter disaster what's happening at the border. And one final thought. You know, my colleagues across the aisle think that everything can be solved by throwing money at it. And it cannot. In this case, The best thing we can do is change the policies. And by changing the policies, you will then disincentivize the migrants from coming into the United States, deprive the cartels of the money that they get from them, and then we can start focusing in on destroying the cartels, which are the source of the fentanyl, which is killing 70,000 Americans every single year. And I yield back.